League was very good to him in that
Well,
sense.
Scar also had Twitch exclusivity contracts. Scar had like a bunch of others. Scar has a lot of money. He also owns Offline TV. Like, Scar has so much money. Like Scar totally fine. Sky's totally fine. There's a lot of people that are totally fine because they got in at like the right times. Obviously, I'm not making what I once was, right? I mean, I told you that I used to be having absolutely absurd multi-six-figure months, like just because of everything combined. So, like, that's very fortunate. Now, there are still streamers today that even streamers today are fucking dumb as bricks in so many ways in terms of how well they could monetize versus what they actually do, right? And I don't think that they feel the fear of it because they're so young and naive.
So let's shift gears then. Like, just in simple, like, easy, like 1, 2, 3. What's 3 things that streamers could do, esports streamers or gaming streamers could do to monetize better?
Is densify a word? I don't think it is.
Densify?
I mean, you can understand it.
Yeah, like
densify.
Do more of what you already do.
Densify a community, and find out what they would actually want as like content or like stuff like that. It sounds weird to say it that way, but it's how it is.
Right. Specify it. Because with gaming, what I've observed as a content creator is that...
Well, like for instance, so TCG players do this, right? Mm-hmm. I am astounded. I was blown away when I found out that there were certain Riftbound players with sub 2K Twitter followers, dependent entirely on Elon Musk's fucking X.com for you algorithm, no YouTube channel, no TikTok, no fucking Facebook, no Discord server, and they are making 20 to 30,000 a month selling guides.
Yeah, courses and like deck setups and stuff like that.
Does anyone do it in League? No.
Not a single
No one. I never did it. I had ideas to do adjacent things like that, right? I think Nice actually did do stuff like, they did like the boot camp shit.
That's different.
Right?
That's selling
it's selling a package.
An experience. These guys were just selling
it's adjacent. It's adjacent.
Guide.
It's adjacent.
Okay.
So there's been people that have done it and they've made crazy lucrative amounts off it. But the issue is all these young 20-year-olds or these teenagers or these mid-20, they don't understand the fear of life yet. Mm-hmm. Because they have no fucking skills. I don't have fucking skills. I'm a goddamn cripple. Do you know how much I depend on like fucking Joe Marsh and like other people for like just the most basic, I mean, you see it. I mean, you've lived here now. You see it. Mm-hmm. I'm a complete degen that got lucky out of my mind. That's the reality.
Okay. Another one.
What?
How gamers could monetize.
What's the question? Again.
3 things that gamers could do to monetize better.
What, in League?
In general.
Well, a lot of it is the densification of their community.
Okay.
It's how they monetize. So you have to densification and monetization are 2 separate things.
Monetization in like every single facet too, because if everyone turned on everything, they'd be very surprised. Subscription-based things, subs, YouTube clips, etc., etc. Most people do one or 2 avenues.
Who is that content creator that literally dropped out of playing pro? They dropped out of playing pro. They weren't even in tier 2. And within like 18 or I think within 18 months, they're making like 15K plus a month. They're making more than tier 1 pro players, and then they're getting crazy tax write-offs because they get to expense so many fucking crazy things, and they work about 1/4 as much as they would have if they were a pro player. Mm-hmm. And it's just so wild. So that's an example of someone that gets it in a way, like they're doing something, right? But because they're also doing it in that manner, they've developed and they've learned skill sets that help them in other areas of life. I don't know. I feel like this question is it's boring for me, in a way, but people are dumbasses, myself included. Like, I mean, it's just how it is.
Well, let me play devil's advocate. A lot of people, especially young guys, can only focus on one thing. They don't even have the capacity, you know? If they're going to go after a league, that might take all that they had. And like, even yourself at a young age, I'm sure you weren't like, how do I expand and fucking do the most? Because people have to be in a more
Well-
fortunate position or have the mental or
I had to find a
wherewithal.
way to make rent off 30 viewers a month.
on Twitch.
Yes.
While
That's
you-
OGLS.
Yeah, when you were playing Hearthstone, correct?
Yes. I had to find a way to make rent and feed myself off 30 CCVs.
Now, another devil's advocate, autism would find a way.
Dude,
Joe
I
Schmo
had
would
to-
not have found a way
I had
there.
to find a. Well, I was one of the first coaches in StarCraft 2.
Mm-hmm.
I was one of the first people that popularized it.
Out of necessity?
Of course.
But
How the fuck can I make money?
But
And a guy literally said, "Well, I can pay you to like help me out."
and you were like, oh.
I'm like, "Oh, okay. Let's do $5 a game." That's how it started. And also it literally started because I needed money, and someone suggested to me that they would pay me.
But that's the thing.
And it never dawned on me.
You needed
There were
it.
no coaches in the scene, by the way.
You needed it.
Of course.
Most people won't need it.
Of course they won't need it.
So how do they?
Because they have a fucking normal life.
Exactly. So how do they get
God, you know what
there?
you just made me think of? You made me think of that absolute whale from that Don Jake stream that called me privileged. And it's like I'm the last person that you ever want to fucking say the word privilege to when claiming that I just have a lot of money.
Mm-hmm.
Holy fuck.
Whale Lord. All right, let's see.
Well, Lord,
Let's see what the chat has to
Gen
say
8,
here.
using water sprout. Shit.
Ask your best questions in chat.
True.
All right, let's see.
What?
The guy saying Hum's spamming the ad button every hour. He's monetized.
Hums gets it though.
That's what you should do.
He gets it.
Okay, let me give you some insight too. On YouTube, you can do this thing where you put an ad just every possible moment. You can do that on videos. Me and Zwag do that. Because there's no reason not to.
Yeah.
You
Person
are
will just skip it.
providing so much value in a live Never had a problem with that. Selling feet pics, yep, that's a great way to monetize.
Unironically, Joe Marsh suggested that to me. I'm not even kidding.
It would sell well.
He joked.
Joe Marsh suggested. You have millions, and he's like, wait.
He's like, oh, he's like, I was like, you could sell them for like $20 or something. And he's like, you get at least 100. He's like, that's an extra $2,000 a month. He laughed at me. It was,
I wonder if he was like Tism joking and you didn't get it, but like,
I don't fucking know.
Who knows?
He was right.
he is right. Money on the table. Do you need it?
Nah, maybe.
The feet will come out when you guys see the feet post. That's when you know things are getting bad. Is there any? This isn't chat, but has there ever been like hand pictures for pro gamers in Korea?
No.
GG.
But some pro gamers were given modeling contracts by agencies because they were considered so conventionally attractive. One pro actually ended up quitting being a pro and went modeling because he blew up so much.
Okay.
Give me something hard.
That's what I'm looking for.
Give me a hard hitting. Oh fuck. I'm 2 shots of gin deep.
Fourth one, you have to reload.
Fourth one I gotta reload.
Attack speed doesn't affect the reload speed.
So you're getting
What's your IRL in-game vision for when you're 60?
Hopefully, I mean, it sounds really morbid, but like, hopefully I'm not around. Like that's, yeah.
Do you want to share with the class why you feel that way or no?
I've been pretty transparent. I mean, There's a difference between actual clinical depression and sadness. Sadness is a emotion or an experience that you feel once in a while, you get over it, right? Whatever. Depression is constant, unwavering, unending, and it has fucking flip phases, it has ebbs and flows, etc. And I have been hemorrhaging ways to try to almost stop the bleeding, like emotionally, for the last like 7-ish years or something. Even before I blew up.
It was
and people
before.
don't remember these streams from 2019 because they just didn't know. Right? I didn't blow up. I just had rejoined the LCK broadcast, right? So for me, I've been talking about MAID for 5 or 6 years. And then finally there was precedent. There was that girl that managed to get it, and now like next year, March 2027, Canada, it comes up to review again. So like there's that, and like different laws have passed in like different countries and stuff. So yeah, I don't really picture a long future. I right now I'm sort of like, I'm not day by day because I do live very futuristically and I use it as like almost as like a motivation to try to turn it into fuel. But the reality is that like I just came off a 1-month break where I was set to let everything die and disappear, and like my next step after that was going to be that I was going to get like a cabin in like the woods in Korea, and I was just going to go pure isolation mode, right? Like that was my current setup. And then I had a couple of multi-hour long talks with Papa Smithy and Joe and some others, and I ended up reactivating everything, and we're trying in a way, right? But it's like options for me are an ever receding line of what the fuck's left, right? T1 got me into private clinical trials for the human ketamine stuff at one point. And then, you know, I was looked at for, whatchamacallit, they wanted to do ECT and they wanted to do EMS, right? And then also like psilocybin, like whatever. But I guess this is like kind of a dark answer, but like, I don't know. I have always tried to be really transparent and consistent. And that's what mental health or mental illness really is. And it's why I get really fucking pissed when people want to do performative fucking virtue signaling on like Twitter and like all this other type of bullshit. Because mental health is consistent, it's constant, it's never ending, and it does not fucking just disappear or go away. That's what it really is. But the problem is that you talk about these things and people want to forget it, or they want to ignore it, or when signs are glaringly obvious that are extremely similar or adjacent to other things that have happened in the past, we just conveniently ignore it. And that's what I talked about with the Whippo thing last Worlds, when Whippo was quite literally just really evidently manic on stream. And there was that. And there were other episodes, and it's like, I don't know, I guess everyone just forgets Rekpol, like, really, really fucking fast. I don't know. There's no greater example, and, you know, I was telling you, right, like, before you even decided to come out here to Korea, like, I started doing the HBOT stuff because we felt like we realized that there was an inflammatory process to whatever the fuck's going on. So I started doing HBOT for that. I looked into trying to order that fucking helmet that's like fucking 10 grand, whatever the fuck it is. I forget what its exact name is. If I just say the description, people might know. It's basically this fucking helmet that you put on, and it delivers, it's like something with light that is like proven to be extremely helpful in placebo versus actual, human trial, whatever. I'm not being very articulate right now because whatever, but
She's sauced.
in treatment-resistant depression type stuff, right? So there's that. I don't have a very long-term look because I'm just being honest. Like the last like the last 10 years are also surreal. The ebbs and flows. I never could predict it, right? So like, but I do know how the last like 5 years has felt, and it has only been like dark. So
a dark and a struggle. Anyone that's struggling like can't do a long-term plan.
Right.
It's impossible.
Right, because you can't see when it's gonna give and when it's gonna break. So like.
So. And then to give chat some perspective too, from what I can see on the outside, it's like I've always known with LS that it's like thoughts come at him at such a high frequency or like high velocity that you're just bombarded by it. And eventually, on like an autistic spectrum or something, you just get overwhelmed. But it's at such a high level that I don't see it in other people. So it's not just something like a sadness, like he's saying. It's something that is always there and hard to get relief from, if any at all. Yeah, exactly.
These days, I'm waking up. We're 2 hours into being awake. I'm like, where's the gin?
Where's the numb juice?
Holy shit.
Do you want to LARP like a 60-year-old like in-game or no? No.
I also don't even think it would be enjoyable.
And then for sure, like a neurotypical like feedback would be nobody wants to hear that you feel that way or.
It's all just bullshit though. It's all performative.
No, there'd be people that would actually care.
Nope. I mean, I could elaborate on like a deeper spectrum of that, but just no.
Yeah, you feel like they don't. Like,
I feel like it's a multi-layered process. It's a natural response and emotion that like it's sort of like the echo player, a feeling about something that isn't logically substantiated, right? And then you work through it and like all these other things.
No. I'm saying that it would make them feel sad.
For me, it's very adjacent to when someone says they'll pray for someone. Like it just doesn't.
No. Not
matter.
that they would help you. That it would make them personally sad that you feel that way.
Oh, sure, I can understand that.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh, okay, sure. Oh, okay. I didn't know what you mean. Okay, sure. Yeah. Yeah, I mean.
And that.
Okay, sure. That I can understand. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Let's take a lot. Any happy answer or any happy questions? Let's.
My mic's dead. Oh, my mic died.
Let's swap, and then I'll plug this one in.
Wait, my mic died.
They probably hadn't been charged.
Oh, I thought we charged it before the.
Well, we did, but battery's blinking.
Oh shit. All right. I'll so then what I'll do is I will repeat the question. I'll repeat the question and then, or whatever you tell me, and then
Okay, that works for now. I swear we had a third one. Whatever. Thank God chat said that.
did. I don't know if they heard what I said through. Nope, it's fine. It's too dark. I'm not repeating it.
Yeah, fuck that question. Let's let that one go for a little bit. Plus for them to understand GG.
All right.
Yeah, your audio's good now.
Okay. Well, that was a dark question. Well, that was a dark answer.
I wanted to get it out of the way.
That's fine. Kind of smoked, though. I liked my response.
It died. An esports question, like, do you think orgs can grow their brand? You want to do that one?
Can orgs grow their brand? Honestly, man, I don't fucking know. I really don't know. I like people are talking about the co-streamers, and they're talking about all this other stuff with like orgs and whatever. But guys, honestly, another huge fucking part of it is the pro players. Like, I'm going to use language that is not targeted at pro players. I'm just using this for emphasis. Okay? These assholes make no content, don't engage, don't actually try to generate fandom, don't do anything. And the ones that do reap the rewards. Like, and it's very apparent that they reap the rewards. What, die again?
Yours is fine.
Oh. Okay. But I think really, more than anything, pro players are to blame. Because it's sort of like what people talk about in the poker world, right? Back in the day in poker, you used to have all these loud people at the poker table. It made for great television, right? You'd have all these characters. They'd dress differently, they'd fucking talk, they'd shit talk each other. Now, if you were to get an actual top tier poker player or table together, they're gonna be there, hood up, glasses on, silent, no one talks to each other, like, and fuck it, because they're husks, right? They're just machines inside, they're robots. And that's ultimately what ended up happening with the generation of League pros, is that they needed to just be better than other people in order to earn their spot. Because basically, assholes in the past used to keep others down because of job security, right? So fandom, popularity, streams, you couldn't climb. Do you remember how hard it was back in the day on Twitch to climb?
Impossible.
You could not break into top 5. You could not do it. It was not possible. Nowadays, or not top 5, top 10. Nowadays, if you time it right and you like learn people's schedules and stuff, you can do it.
Clips change the game.
Clips change the game too. Clips, short form content, all this other type of stuff. So these games are all fucking open, but these pro players are just so and that's the other crazy thing too. There's so many lazy as fuck pro players that almost only exclusively play scrims, or like they barely play the game outside of it. This ties into like a lot of things. Co-streaming and like viewership death? Fuck no, man. Like, the most wild ass fucking thing is like most people are probably only tuning in to some of these events now because of co-streamers. That's the other like wild ass fucking thing. But it's not, I wouldn't say it's the broadcast's fault, it's the pro player's fault. And I don't know how the fuck, so the solution was not what used to happen back in the day, which is companies would allocate a massive budget to these video editors and producers that have no idea how to game YouTube, no idea how to game TikTok, no idea how to game YouTube Short. They don't know what the fuck they're doing. They're absolutely clueless. They just have either some bullshit fucking 4-year degree from some college that makes them think that, well, I went and I got my degree. Great, it doesn't tell me anything. All that it tells me is that you showed up for your classes, you followed a syllabus, you did the bare minimum, they passed your ass, and you have a fucking degree. That's all that fucking piece of paper tells me. Doesn't tell me anything else, because you and 50 other 1,000 jackasses in this country have the same fucking degree. And amongst all of you, there is a tier graph just like in League of Legends. So there's gonna be some challengers, there's gonna be some fucking masters, some GMs, some diamonds, some plats, some emeralds, etc. And real talent always stands out, and they always get gobbled up. So basically what I'm trying to get at is we had this era of like 2018, 2019, 2020 venture capitalist money, and their idea of content creation was forcing pro players to make content in ways that they didn't want to, that didn't capture what people wanted to digest and they didn't want to watch, etc. And then the content died. And then everyone gave up on it. And so that's it, right? So it's possible to generate interest, and it's possible to create narratives and all this other type of stuff, but it actually takes pro players. I don't think the broadcasts can do anything about it, and if you try to go for co-streamers next, then you're fucked. Because like, they're the last thing, they're the fucking thing still holding like the wall up. Like that is just the fallout. So I mean, I just don't, I have no idea. And then also in Korea, by the way, because the Korean co-streamers are huge. They're huge for the community because they're the ones that almost kind of force some Korean pro players to come on, do talks, do chats, like all this other type of stuff, because pros just won't stream. They won't make content.
I'm sure they run community events here too.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, things like that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, who are some of the current pro players who have reaped the awards or rewards?
Current pro players that reap the rewards of what?
I guess content stuff, 'cause that's what we're talking about.
Fucking. What do you mean, current? I don't understand the question.
That's the question.
Repeat?
Who are some of the current pro players who have reaped their rewards
Who are some of the current pro players that have reaped the rewards?
of content-related things? Because that's what we're talking about.
Fucking has anyone?
Has anyone?
Has any pro
Wait,
player
this is-
reaped?
This is actually good.
I mean, technically, Busio, by going to Carmen Corp, which I said to him was like the best decision he could make, right?
Busio's popping.
Busio's popping off. Jojo Pyong going to MKOI, that was one of the best fucking moves he could do. I don't know, like, who else? I mean, in recent years, like, I mean, co-streaming just objectively made me, Dom, and Kadril all, like, well, Dom was already a multimillionaire. But it made, like, me, Dom, Kadril, and fucking Double Lips was also already a multimillionaire. Tyler was already a multimillionaire. It, like, you know, like, I guess we reaped the rewards.
Yeah, those aren't players.
Those aren't players. Well, Kadril was a player. I'm not. I wasn't a player. I was almost a player.
Los Ratones question mark? Because all of them were content.
Oh yeah, technically, Los Ratone. Yeah, I mean, if they're well, Nemesis, right? Nemesis is probably the best pro turned content in terms of financial gain.
That's still.
That's still
a long
around.
time ago.
Yeah, it's still a long time ago. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not current.
Yeah.
Let's go next.
But also, Nemesis was so put on by so many people, and that in addition to that, put in the work, right? So like, it was a combination.
They like ASMR eye seating. Yep.
What? Repeat. What's good, Miss Sasha Hoyston?
Are you streaming?
Yeah.
Nice.
I'm doing a couch stream while I'm getting drunk as fuck.
How it's streamed?
Absolutely.
Try turning this on again.
Give me another questionino.
Well, one of the questions is how you translate your gaming skills, but it's a loaded question because I've seen that your autism just automatically happens to everything all the time, no matter what. So you're hacking.
Thank you. What's good, Miss Sasha Hoyston?
Everything's good.
Yeah, everything's good. Getting third in NA events. That good, or
I'm fucking terrible. Washed up.
Did you see the Rohan God guy said that? You know who he is?
No.
He's gotten Apex tier in pretty much like so many different genres of games. He's gotten the highest tier in like so many different games, but he hasn't played StarCraft, and he hadn't played Street Fighter or like something else, right? So I told him that if he plays StarCraft 1, to try to get 2500 playing Terran Zerg. No Protoss is a simulation on that one, you know? Like,
You have to do it in Korea though. The ladder is like, it's just a clown show if you're not in Korea.
can you get 2500 playing only versus foreigners?
You can, but like, it's not real games.
Oh, okay. So he would have to come to Korea to do it?
Just, like, strats at work because it's late. And like the Koreans will just instantly introduce you so you get like a free ammo.
Oh, true.
Yeah.
All right. What do we got, Sawyer? Hit me with one.
Is this like a Q&A?
Yeah. Letting people ask me whatever the fuck they want.
Chat, ask a good question.
Ask a good question.
Don't be shy. No stupid questions here.
No stupid. I honestly like can ask kind of whatever as long as it's not like falling under NDA.
Okay. What is your thought process when evaluating a champ from a strategic point of view?
What's my thought process when evaluating a champ from a strategic point of view? That's kind of too ambiguous. I mean, immediate thoughts are like, through what means does it do its damage, or through what means does it, conduct itself, and then like, from there, what's it? Right? The champion is ultimately just a combination of numbers. That's all that it is. It's always black and white numbers. It's always binary, right? So the champion isn't like, whatever you're seeing, its name, the name of its abilities, how the abilities look, all of that's just fake. Ultimately, what you're reading is the numbers of what that means, and inside of that, you're able to place it over other images of the past, and you can get an idea of how often it'll slot in, or like where it'll be good, or in what ways. And you can learn to do that. Honestly, you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of the Jeff Bezos thing, the cosine speech that he gave. Jeff Bezos was at his university, and him and his roommate were working on a problem for about 3 hours, and they couldn't solve it, and it was an extremely difficult problem. And they went to this guy, I think his name was Yosanta, and apparently he's the smartest guy at the university. And they went to his room, and apparently they showed him the problem. And he looked at the problem for a couple minutes or something, and then apparently he just said cosine, which was the answer. And I guess Jeff Bezos and his roommate looked at him, and Jeff Bezos was top 30 in his class at this point. And they looked at each other, and they looked at him, and they're like, you just do that mentally in your head? And he said, no, of course not. But I just recognized all the patterns were so similar to another problem that I had done, and so I just put them on top of one another. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, that's all that it is with champions.
Yeah, even neurotypically I get there.
Yeah.
If I do a certain build on one champion, then I feel it on another one, then I get
Yeah.
data, it all comes together.
To me, I view it very 4D, like the thing we were discussing yesterday. Mm-hmm. I see things mostly in 4D.
It actively construction in your head like a like a building montage, no?
Yeah, something like that, yeah.
Okay. Do you think diving into the nitty-gritty of the game is worth it for pros when you can just hands diff them, for example, Chovy?
Well, Chovy just objectively can't just hand stiff everyone, which is why most people caught up. Which is why Chovying is not as prominent as it once was. You just have random people that can go even against him in lane sometimes. Like, he's still clearly different, but the extent at which the top players are able to get ahead of the people chasing them is an ever slowing down speed. The rate at which they can, they can't. It's an ever-closing gap.
So they should get into the nitty-gritty.
Of course they should, because that's the only way that you get edges.
Okay, so then how would they do that?
What do you mean, how?
How? What would be their first step? Because let's imagine that they never dove into it.
Well, people won't do that. The nitty-gritty is like, well, so this is interesting because I'm going to make this video next week because Riot's doing something for the very first time ever where they're inventing that item that is intentionally muddying the waters. Mm-hmm. It's an item that isn't real. And all that the item is doing is it's meant to be so needlessly complex that no one, I don't think any human possibly could ever with almost certainty discern that item would be better than other items. It's the new boots. It's the Omnivamp boots. Yep. Now, there is some nuance to it in terms of the Omnivamp does apply to minion waves and stuff. And so maybe there is like some clear instances in when you can go it as a hyper niche. But the reality is that item is a defensive tool in a lot of situations. I think it's going to be so impractical to be able to tell when that would be better than, say, steel-plated or Merc Treads or something like that.
Right. But still, I feel like I'm asking a trick question, because I feel like my answer to how would someone get into the nitty-gritty would just be they have to be inquisitive.
Well, of course, yeah.
They have to want to know.
Well, they have to think out loud, and they have to ask dumb questions. because sometimes
Do you think
the
that's
answer
restricted?
is inside of the dumb question.
Do you think that dumb questions are restricted in a team environment?
Oh yeah, of course they are.
Well,
Because it creates the paper trail.
Yeah, I've never been. in
Suddenly,
one. But I feel like
you're
should
the
be
person asking
encouraged.
dumb questions.
Yeah, and you're spending.
But there's
everyone's
no
time.
dumb questions when everyone acknowledges that each other are smart.
Or trying to get to the same goal.
Yes.
Something.
Yes. I could say, so I know that I just fucking use him all the time, but I use him all the time because he's one of the most analytical minds in the pro scene, right? Inspired, right? I could say the dumbest fucking thing to him, and it would not be met with scorn or derision.
This has always been the case in gaming, though. When both guys respect each other, then they can be total idiots.
Yes.
Pursuing.
Yes. Yes, me and
excellence.
Max back in the day, we would ask each other the stupidest fucking things.
But if a
just
random-
to almost litmus test each other.
Right, but even yourself, if a random came to you and was like, "What about this build on this guy?" You'd be like, "Shut
Yeah,
up."
of course.
Shut up.
No. I always try to listen.
You would.
Yeah, I would.
Every
yeah.
other person
Most people
on
would
planet
not.
Earth.
Right.
Fuck off, bud.
Right.
Get away from
Well,
me.
because I'm ultimately trying to question.
Everything.
I always want to test if what I actually believe is true.
Mm-hmm.
So if new information is introduced, then I need to then compute it and evaluate. Does it still hold? That's what you would do in science, right? Like,
But it happens automatically for you, no?
for the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, fuck, this is hitting me. All right, we're good. I need two more. I'll be on my 4th shot of gin.
This one's. All
What?
right. I told the chat to ask good questions. We got one.
All right, what?
Do you think Nick Itch will reach Challenger now that they reset the Masters Plus ladder? I don't think they reset the Masters Plus ladder.
I think I just announced it, didn't they?
We'll see. But anyways, do you think Nick Itch will reach Challenger in Europe? One of the hardest servers on
As a result of volatility since January, doing a ranked reset for Apex Plus Master players in NA, EU Nordic East, Brazil, LAN, and TR, affected players will have their visible rank and MMR reset to Masters LP when patch goes live.
Crazy. That's their first reset ever.
Yeah, that's their first hard reset, but it's only for Apex. Will Nikic hit Challenger? Well, can he stay awake for 4 days?
How many Red Bulls are in his apartment right now? Get an X-ray. Does he have the dog in him right now?
Oh my god. He's the P. Diddy and Meek Mill's audio. That's Nikic. With the enemy jungler. Yes,
It's the only way he's getting that LP.
Yes,
Take it.
King. Oh, fuck.
I wish someone would ask you like an embarrassing question.
Embarrassing? What do you mean?
Yeah, I wish. Wow.
What?
One
You
of the
got
things
one?
in chat says worse eyesight equals more dimensional vision. When people lose their sight, they gain other senses higher.
That's true.
That's weird. Because
Yeah.
you're like mostly blind,
I'm blind to my right eye, yeah.
and it's like, do you get extratism from it?
Ooh, interesting. Well, I've also speculated that maybe some of my depression is partly due to my vision.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, if light doesn't get in, that affects you in weird ways.
Not even that, but when I put in my hard lenses, which I can't tank them like for too long.
Yeah.
I always think like, wow, everything's so pretty. Like it makes me almost like temporarily happy.
Yeah, because those things affect you more.
Yeah.
Can we get exclamation point autism spam in the chat?
Thank you. Yep. Yep.
Yeah, thank you. At LS, how do I find love?
Well, you know, I don't know, man. Sometimes, you know, sometimes you gotta buy it.
For some people.
Sometimes, you know, you get that escort, you know?
Right, a follow-up. Is that why pro players should make more content and make more money to buy more love?
Fuck. That's good.
So stupid. There's so many stupid questions.
Yeah, I mean, you can ask stupid ones. It's fine.
No, like they're not even worth.
Give me an example of a not worth question.
Okay, hold on. Are people at the top worried about being the top in games?
What?
Like a gay joke. Are people at the top worried about being top in games?
No, I think he's meaning, are they worried about being on top, right?
No.
Oh.
He's talking about taking some D.
Oh, is he?
I think so.
Okay.
Is he talking to AI? Fuck you.
Siri. That's not.
That's a good portion of my fucking YouTube comments, dude. Whatever. Is this AI? Is this a recording?
Is this guy real? This guy real?
Whoa.
What?
Do you see yourself becoming a full-time content creator for Riot MMO in the future if it turns out to be good?
Nah, dude, honestly, low key, like, first let's make it there, huh?
Low-key.
Like, low key, first let's make it there, right? The mic went out for my talk on Made, but fucking, first let's make it there, huh? Holy shit. I have an ever receding line of fucking options. The MMO is something I look forward to, though. So.
Do you know the player ZYB in EU?
Zib? Zybe?
Yeah, Bo.
Bo, yeah. I know of him.
You'd have to know his whole thing. Never mind.
I mean, I know he cheated.
Cheated?
Yeah.
Well, that kind of answers the question. It was like, why didn't he get a chance? But if he cheated, GG.
Oh, you mean in Europe, why didn't he get a chance? Oh, I mean, it was just because the paper trail, the scapegoat.
They put him on. They put one of the best like attacking players on tanks too. That was something.
Yeah. Well, that's not really the issue, right? Because like you can have Inspired on fucking Sejuani and.
When you have a worse team, it is.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, yes.
guy would
No,
have to carry the
so
load.
I don't. So this is the thing also that pisses me off about fucking esports, man. People are such dumb because discernibility is absent and the way narratives are like created in a way, you have fake narratives that do not actually match reality of like actual player skill because no one knows what they're looking at. No one has any idea. No one has any discernibility what the fuck they're looking at, which is why you will not see heavy championing of a player or a talent way before they pop the fuck off. You just never fucking see it, for the most part.
Can I interrupt you?
What?
In StarCraft, did the casters have discernibility?
Yeah, because they were top.
They
Like
were
pros.
top.
They were top pros.
So that
Like,
had to shape.
But
more
in
accurate narratives.
StarCraft, because it's 1v1, it was more apparent. Also, there was more accurate tools to measure the differences between players. There was an actual stat that was almost factually, it was almost always true. Way back in the day anyway. There was an APM tracker that could measure, it could tell what was a real input versus spam.
Yeah.
And elite pros always tended to have over 210, they called it EAPM, effective APM.
Mm-hmm.
And there was almost never pros without it. So it was basically like you had this magical 2 number at the start of your EAPM, or you literally just were not a pro. And it was so consistent. That was fascinating. But there were other tools. There were other, like the screen measuring tools. Remember when I was showing Regan the difference between Bisu and like another player, and he's like, "What the fuck is going on?" But that was a time jump discernibility. I was showing a pro from 2004 versus Prime Bisu, and it was just so glaringly obvious the way that if you show Chovy versus fucking Reginald in 2013, it's going to be so obvious, right? Everyone has discernibility in that regard because it's so glaringly obvious. But when everyone's operating at the same field, there's no discernibility. There's virtually none, which is why some players, like Busio, right, get touted as one of the worst supports in the region, go on to FlyQuest, and then he just suddenly becomes best support in NA. No, Busio, if anyone watched his stream, his pro view, or anything, even when he was on 100 Thieves, and he was getting completely shit on because he was on that absolutely abysmal 100 Thieves roster that had the internal drama with fucking the players and all this other type of stuff, Busio's just kept down. No one watches pro view, and even if they did, they didn't know what the fuck they were looking at. Or look at Inspired. When literally he was teamless. He was teamless. No one has any idea what they're looking at. And for some reason, when people like me say that, when someone like me just tells the average Joe, not even the average Joe, an analyst or a coach, right, or something.
Because there's levels to it, even.
There's
at a higher
levels
level.
to it, right.
For a layman listening, there's like discernibility at like certain tiers. You're pretty good, but then there's like just gears that other guys can't get to.
And for some reason, it offends people when you tell them that they don't know. And I can't get that. I don't understand that. Because I understand it in other things, right? Let's say that there's something that I follow at a somewhat competitive, or not even competitive, like I'm a follower, I'm a watcher or something like that, right? Let's say like chess. Now in chess, obviously they can demonstrate over the board, right? Or they can use Stockfish. So they can use AI and like all this other stuff. That makes it a lot more easy for the layman, right? But if there was a debate between two chess people, I would not be able to tell who's lying.
About late game sequences, there's no chance.
If Stockfish is not there to aid the viewer, you can't tell. Like the person just would not be able to tell. It just doesn't even make sense. Now chess is a little bit worse to use for this example because it is like not solved, but you know what I mean. Like with Stockfish's aid and AI, especially because like one game that AI failed to beat was StarCraft. StarCraft's one of the few games that AlphaGo or DeepMind, etc., failed to beat. It couldn't beat the top tier pros. It took years for DeepMind or whatever to beat No Limit Hold'em. Incomplete information games, right? So these types of things. Yeah, for some reason, telling people that they don't have discernibility is, for some reason, like omega offensive, and it's just really strange. I don't understand.
I wish we had a third person because I also don't understand. Because when I was bad at games and then my eyes were opened, I wanted my eyes to be further opened and further opened and further opened.
Sure.
I don't want to be right. I wanted to see the truth.
Sure.
And so, GG.